This is Talk of the Town with Jon Adams on WDAY Radio.
Good afternoon, Fargo. Welcome to Talk of the Town with Jon Adams. It is a beautiful, balmy, can we call it a fall day? I think fall has started. But I wanted to start off the show. This past week it was 9/11, and I would like to take time in this show just to remember all the heroes from that day as well as the victims. I think that one thing that happens in our country is well, not in our country necessarily, but we seem to be a snapshot society these days. And what I mean by that is you hear about something, an event happens, and within a week you forget about it. There might be a flood or a tornado, or most recently there was this thing about a sinkhole in some country, and that was big news around the world. So one of the things I want to do is take this time to recount the way we felt. I know I was working at Shields when 9/11 happened, and I can remember being glued to the TV for the entire day and also trying to work at that time. And I thought, it was just horrific. Everything about it, from the first plane all the way to the last tower came down. It was just unimaginable. And I can remember going home and talking to my wife and talking to my friends over the next few weeks as the stories of heroism came out and the incredible things that took place that day, the people that protect our country. And so I thought, I noticed that this past week there wasn't as big I thought it wasn't made as big a deal as it had been in the past, and it started me to thinking, when did it change? When do we decide that, or is this the way life is? Life just goes on and you move forward. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to talk about 9/11 on my show because I think it's important that we remember. It's just like last month with the officer-involved shooting. I hope that we never get to a point as a community, this community, where we forget the people that are brave, that run into burning buildings and protect us, and the soldiers that protect our life and liberties and the way that we live in this country. I think it's important that we always acknowledge the people that do the work, and they do it selflessly, and they work for the good of our country and the good of our communities. So I wanted to say, if you at all have a chance, you should take the time to thank law enforcement, thank doctors and nurses. Let's thank the people that allow us to have the life and the freedoms that we have, as well as the first responders. Often when you see heroism, it's all the things that happen in the moment, but behind the scenes, the life-saving techniques that take place during tragedy, as well as the counselors and the people who comfort us in these times. So if you get a chance, let's do something great for anybody that we see that work in the community, because first of all, that's what makes us Fargo strong. That's what makes us a great country. And if we forget these things and we forget to honor these people, we're going to be less of a society for it. So I just wanted to say something about 9/11 because I think it's important that we not forget, as well as the officer-involved shooting and the things that took place in last July. So with that, I'm going to transition into what we're going to talk about. And so if you looked at the website, I had on there, we were going to talk about small business as it pertains to Fargo and the United States. So many of you know, or most of you should know by now, that I own a window washing business, and I can be considered small potatoes by anyone's measure, but I enjoy the work and I enjoy working in the community. But, we have a thriving small business climate in the city of Fargo. we are one of the areas that even during recession, we still manage to do well. And so I thought, we should talk about what does it take to be a small business owner. And so I can tell you, first, it starts with an idea, and it can be anything from, hey, I want to plant flowers to I want to make cupcakes to I want to wash windows. And then there's how do you step out of yourself and find the information to do what you want to do, how to start a business. Now, one thing I say about the younger people in the community is that they are constantly forward thinking. Now on social media, we call them influencers. But if you're involved in social media at all in any form or fashion, you see people on there all the time talking about their businesses, talking about things that they want to do, dreams and aspirations. And the big thing about small business in the community is all you have to do is have a plan, have a product, and get started. But what does it mean after you get started? Now you have to go out and you have to do the work of finding clients. And it's funny because I don't advertise, but I have a pretty good client roster. And part of that is the quality of work, and so along those lines, I want to talk about FM Landscapes. A gentleman named Caden came and they did our landscaping, and he is a small businessman. And I got to tell you that the care and the attention to detail that they took in redoing our landscape, it was absolutely awesome. And I have friends that own landscaping companies, and I could have went with somebody bigger. But in this instance, I wanted to give a small business guy a chance. And I can tell you, it was great to have them come in and do the work that they did. And I thought to myself, this should be a show. We should talk about the fact that we have the Targets and we have the Walmarts and, we have the mall and all that. But at the same time, we have small boutique stores. Most recently, we were cleaning the windows over at Shops on Blue by the hair salon over there, and it just struck me how vibrant. And I started driving around the city, and I started looking at all the small businesses that have popped up. And I got here in 1985, and I can tell you that there were maybe 6 small businesses, and I'm kidding. There were more than 6 businesses. But I'm saying it didn't seem like there were as many businesses that we have like we have now. And if you look at it, we are really thriving in it as a community. We've got the Chicken Shack, and there's also, I'm sorry, Tanya Bale, that I can't remember your restaurant up by Edgewood Golf Course. Serves a wonderful breakfast, as well as the Chicken Shack, who I have to tell you, his name is Musa, and he cooks chicken. I won't say it's as good as my mom's, but it's dang close. So if you get a chance, small businesses make up a large percentage of our country. And so we have to support small businesses so that we still have that economic base. We have to invite people to continue to get involved in small businesses, to step outside themselves and say, hey, if you have an idea, go for it. We definitely have to support the small business community. And so with that, if you go to the Chamber of Commerce, FM Chamber of Commerce, they do an outstanding job at helping small businesses, all businesses, but particularly I like what they do with small businesses. They give them a platform. If you're interested in starting a business, that is certainly a great place to start. So with that, we're off and running. I just wanted to talk about small business. We're also going to talk, before I forget, let me give you the shingles update. So as you know, about a month ago, I developed shingles, and it has been unbelievable. So this week, it seems like my inflammation has calmed down, but now I'm developing little bumps on my back, and they're hard little nodules. I don't know what they are, but they're more irritating than anything else. So I intend to continue to give the update because it's important. I'm telling you guys, go get your shingles vaccine. I cannot stress that enough. And I know people are like, is he shilling for the medical industry? What's going on here? But I can tell you that it's the most awful thing that I've ever been through. And it's something that could have been avoided. A lot of times we take our health for granted. And I'm one of those people who rarely get sick, aside from arthritis and the usual maladies that come with being a 58-year-old ex-athlete. Well, I'm still an athlete because I'm a golfer, but you have to pay attention to your health. And this could have been prevented if I had listened to my doctor the month prior and had gotten the shingles shot. So that's the shingles update. It looks like we're going to be up against the break here pretty soon. When I come back, I want to talk about life in general. I want to talk about what does it take to live a purposeful, a meaningful life? How do we enjoy life in this obviously negative climate? I mean, it is absolutely amazing to me. I don't even watch news anymore because it doesn't seem like there's anything that's really socially redeeming on the news. And I like to say back in the day when we had Walter Cronkite and Dan Rather, they always had all the stories on. But it seems like you're getting bombarded with negativity. The sky is falling, doom and gloom. We rarely get to talk about the fact that we still live in a great country and we live in a fantastic community. We live in I think, one of the greatest eras for opportunity. And I think that that's something that we need to talk about. I'm going to talk about it on the show. And so I also, before I forget, this weekend, I had the pleasure of going to my nephew and now new niece, Ellie and Dylan Waldera. I went to their wedding renewal, and it was down at a place called Dunn Villa. And they have what's called the barn down there. And I have to tell you that, I worked at Shields for 12 years. You guys know all that whole history. But when you work in a service industry, you get used to talking about and looking and expecting for customer service. And I got to tell you, there's a hotel in Dunn Villa. I think they call it the Inn. The service was outstanding. One of the most comfortable beds I have ever slept in my entire life. And the wedding was great. The venue was great. The staff was great. I'm going to talk about that on the other end of the break because it really was one of those experiences where you sit back and you're thankful. So congratulations, Ellie and Dylan, and Jennifer and Mike, and Matt. Oh, she's going to kill me. Matt and Dawn, congratulations on your big new family. And we'll see you on the other end of the break. This is Jon Adams for Talk of the Town.
It's the end of the season sale at Lakeland Dock and Lift. Help us celebrate Flow's 40th anniversary with special end-of-season savings. Now is the perfect time to take advantage of the best prices of the year on all Flow dock and lift systems. Don't wait until it's too late. Replace and upgrade your old dock and lift for next year now. Lakeland is the area's #1 Flow dealer for the best selection. With 2 great locations, Highway 10 just east of Detroit Lakes or Lakeland General Store just south on Highway 59, Dunn Villa.
Dr. Jeff and the team at Designer Smiles provide same-day crowns. That's right. No more hassles with multiple appointments to fit your crowns, and they beautifully blend your dental crown with your teeth. Dr. Jeff uses the newest technology available to provide you with quick and accurate same-day crowns so you don't have to spend any more time in dentist chairs than you need to. Same-day crowns will help you achieve a fuller, healthier smile. Find out more at FargoDentalCare.com, FargoDentalCare.com, or call for a consult today, 298-9400.
Tired of fast food for lunch? Then choose delicious food made fresh every day. Choose O'Kelly's with fresh-made tasty lunches for only $10. And they've added some new menu items like Shrimp Street Tacos and Chips. Enjoy the Pork Belly Street Tacos, the Burrito Bowl, Chicken Caesar, Meatball Sub, Roast Beef Melt, or the Cuban. All sandwiches come with chips, and each sandwich made fresh every day and only $10 any weekday. Now that's a lunch you can sink your teeth into. That's O'Kelly's. Delicious food priced right. I-29 in Maine, in Fargo.
Windows can quiver, dogs get excited, plants duck for cover, small children climb into beds between their parents.
Mother Nature treats North Dakota a little different than most states. She likes to show us her power, and honestly, she's pretty awesome.
Springtime in North Dakota can change quickly with thunderstorms swooping in and spitting water bullets like a machine gun.
If your windows and doors are older, you'd be surprised how much energy you're losing and how much money you could be saving.
We'd love to show you windows and doors that will improve the beauty of your home and are more energy efficient. I'm Andrew, the manager of the Window and Door Store in Fargo.
And I'm Jaden. Our team of window and door specialists will meet you anywhere and whenever it works best for you.
Every single homeowner we've sold windows to got our lifetime guarantee on the installation of their windows. We'll give it to you as well.
Call us and schedule a no obligation, no pressure estimate. Even if you only want 1 or 2 windows, we'd love to show you our windows and doors.
The Window and Door Store in Fargo. Better windows, better doors.
This is Talk of the Town with Jon Adams on WDAY Radio.
Hey, welcome back to Talk of the Town with Jon Adams. We're off and running. I'm looking outside. I love this time of year because it's not too hot, it's not too cold. You know, you get out and you golf and you can enjoy the weather. It's kind of crisp in the morning, but that's okay. When I used to fish in Canada and we used to fish down in the DL chain, I always loved getting up in the morning. You know, there's a little fog, there's a mist on the water, and it just, there's something about being in nature in this part of the country that is absolutely amazing. Before I go any further, I do want to thank Greg. Greg called, and I don't know if he had to go or what happened there, but
oh, yeah, he had to go back to work. Basically, he wanted to call up and give you some advice for shingles. He was basically recommending if anyone has, like, work insurance, get your shingles that way because work should cover it predominantly because he got it when he was retired. And he said, I think it was Medicaid or Blue Cross was supposed to pay for it, but I guess they didn't cover everything, so he had to pay a lot out of pocket. So that was the thing he wanted to pass on to you.
Well, thank you, Greg, for that advice. Unfortunately, Adams Window Cleaning doesn't offer insurance, but I guess I'll have to check into my health insurance through my wife. But
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I got to do something because they tell me that this thing could last up to a year, Jacob, and it's more a nuisance now than anything else. But I can tell you that first 10 days, oh my gosh, it was absolutely through the roof. And I hope that it doesn't ever recur ever again for as long as I'm on this planet. So thank you, Greg, for calling in and for that advice. But like I was saying, you know, this time of year, you know, it reminds me that winter's coming, but at the same time, it's crisp outside. You know, I sat on the deck after work yesterday and smoked a cigar, listened to blues with a good friend of mine, and it started me to thinking about this radio show. And you know, I wanted to talk small business, but I also started thinking about, you know, I've always managed to live a life of positivity for the most part. And I think part of it is I was, believe it or not, I was a shy kid, you know, and talk a whole lot. Now, I know some people are going to say that absolutely cannot possibly be the case, but actually up until I was about a junior in high school, I was a pretty shy guy. But somewhere along the lines, I found my voice, and now for those of you that know me, you know that there are times when I can't stop talking. But I was thinking, you know, what could I bring to Fargo Moorhead today that might help somebody out there maybe move their life forward or give them some advice that they could hang their hat on to how to move towards more positive existence. So I started thinking about my life, and the first thing that I think of is growing up, religion was a huge part of my life. I mean, huge because my dad was a minister and we spent what I deem now an inordinate amount of time in church. But I think that shaped me at an early age, and also having siblings who were my biggest cheerleaders, cousins who were my biggest cheerleaders. I just developed a mindset of positivity and that nothing was too big that I couldn't do, but also having family really makes a difference. So, you know, one of the things that I really want to touch on is the area of spirituality. Like I've said on other shows at other times, I'm not a big proponent of organized religion because it seems more about man and less about God. And so for me, I lean on the teachings of Christianity and the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and the teachings of the Bible. It seems that churches used to be, it doesn't seem like, but churches used to be where you could go in the community to really get the things that you need. You know, now we see that people are more leaning on the government, and you know, the government, they pick and choose as to what they want to do, and frankly, I don't think they do very much well, but that's another story for another day. But, you know, if you're struggling out there, one of the things I would suggest is, you know, whether it's meditation, if you have a religion that you believe in, something, is very important that you lean into that, because I believe that that's what feeds the soul, okay? When nothing else works for me, I don't necessarily get on my knees with the arthritis, but simply bowing my head and having conversations with the Lord seems to do a lot for me, and it helps me. Then the second part is, what do you do to feed your spirit while you're waiting on these things and waiting on the Lord to take care of you? For me, it's music, or it's getting out in nature. And in Fargo, I got to tell you, we got walking paths, we got bike paths. My wife and I, from time to time, we'll go sit out on the deck over at the tavern, just being outside, getting the sun on your face. These things are vitally important because, let's face it, life's not easy. With everything that's going on yesterday I had to fill up my truck, and it was almost $100. Almost $100. I got used to spending $75 here, $60 there, and something as little as having to fill up my truck to the tune of almost $100. It drove me crazy. It drove me crazy because it's like all the things that we have in this country, we can't get affordable gas. Now, I know that there are some people going to say, well, it's Joe Biden. That's fine. You can say it's Joe Biden. I think it's the government in general because, from the way I look at it, they seem to move the needle at will on a lot of different things. But if you remain prayerful and spiritual in what you do, I think that you'll find that you'll have calm and peace in your life. Secondly, eliminate the things that don't enhance your life. And this is a big thing for me because I used to be I'm still unbelievably busy, but in a different way. I have some friends over the past 5 years that have fallen by the wayside, and that has been intentional. And it's been intentional because I recognize that they weren't enhancing my existence. And in a lot of ways, some of these guys, they were a drain on me. You take the phone call and you just knew you were going to spend 15 minutes talking about something that was negative, and it didn't really make you feel good when you got off the phone. And so I thought, you know what? I need to make sure that I surround myself with people that enhance my existence. Because for me, when I meet somebody, I try to make people laugh and smile because, that doesn't cost anything. To be nice to people doesn't cost anything. Or to just be good to people. It makes you feel good when you can make somebody smile or you can do something for them. So with that, we have to pare down the people in our life that become drains on our life force. The people that you pick up your phone and you're just like, I don't know that I want to take this phone call. And it's a subtle thing, but people can become a drain on you, and that brings you down. I've gotten into doing some yoga, partly because I have arthritis and my lower back is screwed up and all of that. But during that, I've learned how to meditate. And I started off reading a book, and then I got online and YouTube. I don't know how many people know about YouTube. Maybe it's just me, but I can tell you I got on YouTube, and there's so much information about taking care of your mental health. And I guess that's what I'm rounding out to, is that everything you do in life starts with you. And it starts with how you view life, how you wake up in the morning. I make it a point, I have to sit on the bed for a good 5 minutes and stretch and do whatever I do. But in those moments when I wake up, I always like to think to myself, what am I going to do so I have a great day? I look forward to knowing that I'm going to have an interaction with people where I'm going to say something that's going to make them feel good about who they are. It's intentional. I do it on purpose because I feel good when I have those type of conversations. And if you're an introverted person, something as simple as saying hello and getting the ball rolling, it can change your entire existence, okay? And so every day, like I walk into the studio, I see Jacob. There's a big smile because Jacob's my man. He keeps everything nice and ordered. But you know what? I look forward to seeing this guy on Wednesday. I hope he looks forward to seeing me. He gives me the nod that says sometimes.
Yeah. I look forward to seeing you, John.
And we have a great, right? Because it's just that dialogue. And I think in this time where we get so wrapped up in our phones and we get so wrapped up in our kids and our work and things like that, I think we're losing our ability to communicate. And nowhere is that more prevalent than our kids. And one of the things I say is I like the fact that I get to communicate with my sons in a way that I think some dads don't. I mean, we have great conversations. They're wonderful guys as far as I'm concerned. But, you know, the human connection, we have to have that, and we have to always keep that in the forefront, because if you're constantly on your phone or you're always engaging in your computer, you can lose that. And once you lose that connection to the human condition, I think things become worse for you. I think that you lose that sense of empathy. You know, I have friends that are absolute nuts when it comes to Instagram and Facebook and all these type of things. And to talk to them, you basically have to put your hand over their phone sometimes just to get their attention. And honey, I know you're listening, so I know you've had to put your hand over my phone a time or two, but it's something that we have to work on. It's so easy. You know, I don't like people to text me. It's funny because when I get text message, a lot of times it takes me a while to respond. Or if I get a text message, I'll call the person and they'll say, well, I texted you. I didn't want to talk to you. Well, I don't work that way. I like to talk to people. Obviously, I like to talk. I'm on the radio. But these are the things that lend to the human condition, but they also help your soul. So in that regard, I think that we really need to make sure that we're connecting with people and that we're moving the needle forward in our lives. So that's the spiritual side. The other thing that I think you have to do is you have to find your bliss. You have to find what soothes, what nurtures your existence. And it's funny because for me, that's golf, that's family, that's those and video games, believe it or not. But I can tell you that if you don't have something that nurtures you, like I said, I was a fairly quiet kid when I was growing up. And one of the things I loved to do was to read. I read a ton. I read a lot. And now I'm getting back to that. And it's funny because the books that I read now, there's a lot of autobiographies. There's a lot of wanting to know things. Like I'm curious about this. I'm curious about the whole AI thing and how that's going to play out, you know. But I'm saying you have to find your bliss and you have to find something that works just for you. And I've been married for 30 years, and it's funny because I have my things and my wife has her things. And through it all, it helps you stay centered. It helps you stay focused. Jacob tells me that we're up against the break. It's already I can't believe this show is flying by here. I want to thank you for listening. If you want to call in or you have advice for other people for what they can do to help them stay centered in these turbulent times, give us a call. The phone number is 701-293-9000. We'll see you on the other end of the break.
Tom is here. Make sure you join me during Big Iron, September 12th and 13th from 2 to 5 p.m. I'll be doing the Jay Thomas Show live from the Brenco building. Stop by, say hi, chat with the Brenco team about their full line of Kodiak floor scrubbers and Karcher heated pressure washers. Ask them how you can save big during Big Iron. Join me, Jay Thomas, live from the Brenco building, 2 to 5 p.m., September 12th and 13th. Go to BrencoOnline.com. Jay Thomas here. Make sure you join me during Big Iron, September 12th and 13th from 2 to 5 p.m.
Hey, Ronnie.
Yes.
Do you have your bags packed?
I do. I'm all ready to go to Milner.
We're going to Minot.
What's in Minot?
The Norse Hoos Fest. Thursday, September 28th and Friday, September 29th for all the fun and festivities. We're going to be there live doing our show.
Bring your campers, drive your motorhomes. Come join us for great food, side stage entertainment, and big shows.
It's a great festival, and we get to join the fun. The Coffee Club live at Norse Hoos Fest. Find out more at hoosfest.com. We're hitting the road.
Where's my Viking helmet?
Hello from the WDAY News Center. I'm Ty Schoenert with your news update. A 68-year-old woman dead following a vehicle versus pedestrian crash in Fargo this morning.
By the time we arrived on scene, the pedestrian was confirmed to be a fatality victim. North Dakota Highway Patrol is going to take lead investigation on the crash.
That's Patrol Sergeant Christian Helge speaking on the scene of the crash, 13th Avenue and 32nd Street Southwest. Charges still under consideration for the male driver who struck the woman. An investigation still ongoing. Search for a missing Fargo man who jumped into the Red River called off. Incident began when police responded to a disturbance near the Red River on Monday afternoon. Once on scene, officers encountered a man who ran from them and jumped into the water. A search for the man persisted into the evening, resuming the following morning. No sign of him was found. Authorities decided to call it off shortly before noon yesterday. Police say the man had been involved in an altercation with a woman leading up to the incident. And gas prices in Minnesota expected to start dropping soon after an unexpected spike over the weekend. Gas price website Gas Buddy says unexpected refinery shutdowns led to a jump of 30 to 40 cents per gallon around the state. Regulations that allowed the sale of winter blend gas go into effect this weekend. Analysts say it'll help push gas prices lower as petroleum companies already have winter blend gas in stock and ready to deliver. I'm Ty Schoenert with WDAY and WDAYRadioNow.com. First at the news when you need to know.
Pucklet Chevrolet Buick GMC in Valley City makes it easy to find your next Chevrolet Buick GMC or pre-owned vehicle by offering a great selection at our best prices possible.
A lot of sunshine for this afternoon. It will be a little breezier. We'll have highs in the low 70s with a southeast wind around 10 to 25. Overnight, partly cloudy skies, not nearly as chilly with lows in the mid-50s. Southeast winds around 10 to 20. And a mix of clouds and sun on Thursday. We'll see showers and storms develop in the afternoon. We'll have a high in the mid-70s. And then cooler but dry weather for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with highs in the low 70s. From the WDAY Skywatch Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki.
Everyone has a community to lean on. A neighborhood, school, kids' teams, where you worship, work out, or any other place or group where you choose to belong. Communities can provide support when you need it, and even when you don't know you do. Like when it comes to preventing underage drinking and other substance use. You've talked with your kids and shared clear expectations, but you're not with them every minute. Your community members, friends and relatives, teachers and coaches, faith leaders, and other important adults in your kids' lives can be your eyes, ears, and a supportive influence when you're not around, reinforcing your messages with your kids and alerting you to warning signs of underage drinking or other substance use. So talk with your kids about these issues and involve the members of your community to help keep your kids safe. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information, visit talktheyhearyou.samhsa.gov.
This is Talk of the Town with Jon Adams on WDAY Radio.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town with Jon Adams. If you want to call in and talk about things that you do to keep yourself centered, the phone number is 701-293-9000, or you can email at Studio1 WDAY Radio Now. So to continue on along those lines, as many of you may know that I wrapped up my coaching career this year. I've been coaching for close to 35 years. And I just thought it was time to move on. By all accounts, I was a pretty successful coach. I measure success by the kids that I coached. And one of the things that I like to say is that, coaching, extracurricular activities, sports, and all of those things, they help enhance a child's life. They help children learn how to be within an organization. It teaches teamwork, it teaches discipline, all of these things. And I always said at the beginning of the season that regardless of the sport, you're not just there for the sport. So when I coached, I made it a point that the athletes understood that we're preparing them for life. And like I said, one of the things that we had on the swim team was we had current events where we would talk about current events, and we would encourage. We didn't encourage. We made it mandatory that the athletes share their views, because we were teaching them that they have to learn how to critically think. They have to learn how to have their own opinion. They have to learn how to be a part of a group and be able to contribute to the conversation in a meaningful way. In that way, we also had them carry these messages home with them, give them a voice at home, give them a voice at school, give them a voice in the community. And it was a great experience because the older guys, they would always come up with these seasoned answers, and the younger guys, the 7th and 8th graders, it was typically 7th and 8th grade answers. But over the time, you could see the maturation and the process that went on as they understood the value of these conversations before we began the work at practice. So I introduced that because I've talked about different things that you can do to remain centered and areas that that I think are important, like finding your bliss and having something that's your own and maintaining your spirituality. And I want to take this time to talk about volunteerism in the FM area community. Now, for me, volunteerism took the form of coaching. I love everything about coaching. I love everything about being involved with these student athletes and taking someone wherever their talent level was and getting them to that aha moment. And the aha moment, if you've ever counseled anybody or you've coached, is when the light comes on and they realize that it's them doing the work. They're enhancing who they are. They figure out their worth, and they figure out the discipline and the desire and what it takes to get to the next level that they want to be at. And the one thing that I've always liked about Fargo is that it has a great volunteer base. And what I mean by that is there are so many organizations out there that are really fantastic in our community at enhancing our community. And I wanted to start off talking about the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And I don't know how much you guys know about this, but they grant wishes to children who are facing critical illness. And I've had the good fortune of being at events where the Make-A-Wish Foundation has been involved. And I've never come away from that event not feeling grateful. Not just grateful for my life, but grateful that there are people out there doing this kind of work for children, first of all, and in some cases adults. But I've got to imagine that the people that are involved in that organization have to feel great about what they're doing. It has to give them a sense of belonging and a sense of wholeness. And so that's something that, if you're looking for someplace or something to be involved in, look into the Make-A-Wish Foundation. The second is hospice. Now, about 10 years ago, my mom passed away of cancer, and we had in-a-home hospice. And I can tell you that it was beyond exceptional because there was no harder time in my life than that period when we went through my mom's transition. And these people were exceptional. The care that they gave my mom, the care and the counseling that we got, hospice, I mean, it's something. Now, I have to say, it's not for everyone. But the key is you got to find volunteerism that speaks to you. We have also the Spirit Room. And it's funny because the Spirit Room, it's a multidisciplinary arts organization. So they're giving dance classes, poetry readings. It's helping us in the ethnic community, and it's basically speaking to the arts. So if that interests you, that's one. One other one, and I don't know if they still do this at Sanford and Essentia, but you can go and you can hold babies. You You can go in and volunteer in the hospital. I know hospitals have tons of volunteers. Having been a frequent visitor of hospitals over my lifetime, the number of people that have come through that have been volunteers that have, it's not easy being in the hospital, I got to tell you. The food has gotten better, I can say that, but you're not in the hospital because everything's going great. You're in the hospital because you're dealing with something. And the volunteers that come in here, Sanford has a great training system. This is another area that I think if you're looking for something to get involved in, probably one that I think should be closer to the top of the list is the Fargo VA. See, the VA deals with our veterans, and these are people who selflessly put their lives on the line for us so that we can maintain the freedoms and the lifestyles that we enjoy in this community. And so I've had the fortune of going to the VA and speaking to veterans, and as well as I have a number of veterans that I know, and listening to their stories, and not just traumatic stories, but getting to know why did they go in the military? Why did they volunteer to put their life on the line? The different areas of the country that they come from. I think that we cannot do enough for our veterans in this community. I think that they're underserved, and I think that that's an area that if you're looking for something that might be your bliss. And I can't believe it, but Jacob says we're already up against the break. When we come back, we're going to move forward. We're going to talk about sports in the area and our beloved football teams, the Bison, the Dragons, and we're going to talk a little Viking football. This is Jon Adams with Talk of the Town. If you want to call in, the phone number is 701-293-9000 or studio at WDAYradionow.com.
It's the end of the season sale at Lakeland Dock and Lift. Help us celebrate Flow's 40th anniversary with special end-of-season savings. Now is the perfect time to take advantage of the best prices of the year on all Flow dock and lift systems. Don't wait until it's too late. Replace and upgrade your old dock and lift for next year now. Lakeland is the area's #1 Flow dealer for the best selection. With 2 great locations, Highway 10 just east of Detroit Lakes or Lakeland General Store just south on Highway 59, Dunvilla.
Fall registration is now open at Olivet Lutheran Church. Register your kids for Sunday school, Wednesday school, and confirmation. And adults, we have something for you too. Join our choir, handbell choir, numerous Bible studies, including a women's-specific Bible study, our food pantry group, be a youth group leader or teacher, and more. Sunday school will begin on September 17th, and Wednesday school and confirmation will begin on September 20th. For more information and to get registered, go to olivet.org. Encounter Jesus, experience grace at Olivet Lutheran Church.
Embarrassed by ugly yellow toe fungus?
Living with toe fungus it's embarrassing. I was afraid to take my socks off. I hid my yellow and crumbly toes from everybody.
Introducing Crystal Flush. Crystal Flush is the only FDA-registered 2-in-1 home treatment that attacks your toe fungus from both the inside and out. Crystal Flush's new and different combination system knocks out toe fungus for good. Guaranteed.
Crystal Flush is different. After just a few weeks, my fungus was gone. 100% disappeared. Crystal Flush was the only thing that ever worked. So if you're skeptical because you tried a bunch of other stuff, Crystal Flush is different. This is a game changer.
Crystal Flush is now available without a prescription, but it is not available in stores. Get your risk-free supply today. Go to crystalflush.com. That's CRYSTAL flush.com. Stop being embarrassed by ugly yellow toenails. Go to crystalflush.com or call 800-204-4484.
This is Talk of the Town with Jon Adams on WDAY Radio.
Keep working today. That smile will come one day.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town. It's been an interesting show. It's interesting being in here by myself, but I love today's show. I loved what I talked about, and I love the fact that I was able to bring it to you. So we're going to move forward, and we're going to talk a little bit of sports because, let's face it, like I said before, this is my favorite part of the year where football season is in full swing, and we're going to start with my beloved Dragons. Unfortunately, they took it on the chin last week, 56-14, and that was to Bemidji State. But there were some things that came out of there. I thought the fact that At halftime, they were down pretty big, but, sometimes it's not always about the win. It's about the way you perform. And the fact that these guys kept fighting and it looked like they figured some stuff out for a while. And it's one of those things. I've been on the losing end of a big lopsided loss, and it's funny because you're just grasping at straws at times, but you really find out what you're made of. And I like the resiliency of the Dragon team and the fact that they kept fighting. It didn't turn out the way we wanted to, but I think that there's a bright future moving forward. And so with that, we'll say good luck, Coach Lacqua. And our Bison, of course, they rolled it up against Butler. What was it, 27-7 or something like that, 44-7? Either way, they absolutely clobbered them. And I like the fact the defense looked strong. The offense looked a lot more consistent. I'm looking forward to this game against Central Arkansas because Central Arkansas is sneaky good. They had a pretty good team last year. They throttled some people. They did pretty well against, I want to say it was Florida, or anyway, it was the FBS school, and they managed 14 points, and they held that top-rated school to 27 points, which is saying something when you look at FBS versus FCS. And now we're going to talk about, of course, my Vikings. And for those of you that watched the game, I want to say this right now. With our starters not playing any games in the preseason, the first 3 games of the season, in my mind, are basically the preseason. These guys are learning how to gel. They're learning how the defense works. They're getting all the pieces to the puzzle in place. I liked what I saw. I didn't like the fact that the offensive line was a sieve in the middle, and I'm still trying to figure out why they didn't correct that. I hope that they signed Mr. Reisner, however you pronounce it. He's a guard. He played for the Denver Broncos last year, and he's a free agent, and he's sitting at home. So I'm going to get on my headset and call KOC as well as Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah and let them know they need to clear some cap room so that we can sign one of those guys. It's funny because I belong to a number of different Viking groups, and there are a lot of people saying that, everybody hates Kirk Cousins. But if you look at what he did in the face of the rush that he faced, he was pretty steady. His numbers weren't stellar, but some of the things that happened to him, like the interception on the end zone when he threw to KJ Osborne, I found it interesting that, people were upset about that. But listening to his interview yesterday, you know what he said? He said, I threw the ball inside where KJ Osborne wouldn't take a big hit. Now, subsequently, the D-back was able to get his hands on it, rip it out, and get an interception. But that speaks to who Kirk Cousins is as a player. I mean, to be in the moment and see that play develop and think about player safety first, that says something about who he is as a human being and who he is as a quarterback. Now, most people aren't going to agree with this, but I think that they are going to give the Philadelphia Eagles all that they want. I think that attacking style of defense is going to play well, although Baker Mayfield this morning said that he knew what the defense was. He knew what was coming in the second half and all of that. Well, okay, good for you, Baker Mayfield, but we all know that if they didn't protect the quarterbacks and a guy could actually put the lick on a quarterback like we did back in the day, Baker Mayfield wouldn't have got that first down. And he probably would have been about 3 yards short. Everything plays out a little different. But overall, I was pretty satisfied with the way the Vikings played, and it's a long season. I'm still putting them on 11 wins. I think that there are things that we have to clean up, but at the same time, I'm very hopeful. Remember, tomorrow's game is the game tomorrow is at 7 o'clock against the Philadelphia Eagles. Unfortunately, the NFL is broadcasting this game through Amazon Prime, which absolutely bugs me because now you've got to pay to watch NFL football on a Thursday. I mean, haven't we done enough by supporting the NFL in general as fans, and now we've got to buy Amazon Prime in order to see these games? I'm interested to see how it plays out. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to Talk of the Town with Jon Adams. Next week, we are going to have a fantastic show. We're going to have William Nelson from Lilac Homes. It's a memory care facility. He has 3 businesses in the FM area. We're going to talk about long-term care and his business as it pertains to the Fargo Moorhead area. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Jacob, for doing a wonderful job today. You guys have a wonderful week and do something kind for somebody this week. Take care and have a great week.
Muffins come for free. When you get it free, you will lose it freely. So you better know, work hard is the best way. Muffins come for free. When you get it free.